Well, good evening and welcome to Tyne Valley PEI. We are at the Cavendish Farms Community Events Center. It is a big day on the hockey calendar for fans all across the country for lots of different reasons. You might be tuning into the World Juniors here this holiday season to watch the Canadians take on Latvia tonight. You might even be following along with Spangler Cup action or just watching your kid play some minor hockey somewhere. Well, up here on Prince Edward Island, and especially here in Tyne Valley, this has been all the talk all week long over this Christmas week. It's the biggest rivalry in the Nova Scotia Under-16 AAA Hockey League reconvening here in Western PEI as the Eastern Dukes are in town to take on the Western Rebels in a rematch of so many matchups here in recent years. The Dukes coming off an Island Championship last March, taking it in 7 games. Of course, the Rebels led that series by 3-2. But the Rebels got their revenge at the Atlantic Championships. In that game, they won by a score of 5-4 in overtime in Port Hawkesbury on their road to an Atlantic Championship title last year. And they will defend that title here at home in April in Tyne Valley as they've won the tournament hosting rights. So that guarantees a ton of things between these two teams. They'll play each other once more here in the regular season after tonight's matchup. Of course, in the Island Final, that's at least 4 more games. And since both PEI teams are guaranteed spots in the Atlantic Championships, we'll see them playing here right on this ice too when the time comes. But for now, we will open the book on a new chapter as both the Dukes and the Rebels players prepare to take the ice. We have a fantastic crowd here in Tyne Valley here this evening. Of course, we remember from last spring during the Island Championship, you literally could not find a seat in this rink. If you were lucky, you could find a place to stand. The Rebels are welcoming the Dukes for the first time in this regular season to Tyne Valley. The Dukes did come here for a preseason game all the way back in September. The Rebels won that game 5-4. But that aside, this is Eastern's first time in the building since taking that Game 7 on March 31st by a 4-0 score. A very highly anticipated one here in Tyne Valley. A good one for all hockey fans across the league and for these two teams here. Their final games before the new year, their final games of 2025 as we throw it down to the ice for the national anthem. These teams met 17 different times last year, 8 regular season games, 7 times in the PEI final, once at Atlantics and once in the preseason. The Rebels had a 10-7 record in that run, and they hold a 1-0 season series lead thus far as they will play each other 3 times in the regular season this year. Last time they met was on December 14th. The Rebels won that in a sort of a miracle, 4-3 over the Dukes of Montague. But they will resume the chapter here tonight in Tyne Valley. Dylan Weil gets the start for the host Rebels. He is 6-4 this season. And in net for the Eastern Dukes, Mason McCausland. He gets his first look at the Rebels this year. He is 7-4 on the season. His .927 save percentage is the third best in the under-16 league. The Rebels are in the yellow tier left. The Dukes are in the white tier right. As we are underway in Tyne Valley, another chapter opens here in the big rivalry as that shot goes up and over net. Early chance here for Tobin McEwen as that Surratt, McEwen, Brady Allison line starts for the Western Rebels. We call them the three-headed monster. They are the top three scorers on this Western Rebels team. They're countered by the Dukes top line, led by Captain Colin McCormick, 6 in the under-16 AAA Hockey League in scoring. And that's McCormick with the puck, a nice drag. McCormick, of course, a veteran on this Dukes team. He was an essential part of their Island Championship last year. He is back for some more, leading this team for perhaps some vengeance down the road at the Atlantics once they get that far, as both lines get their first shifts in and out of the hockey game. As there's a big hit up along the boards right in front of the timekeeper's bench. Throwing that one was Ace Oatway, another veteran player here on this team. It's going up the other way, handling that puck into the zone. There's a shot from a Rebel, and it's up and off an arm and out of play for the first stoppage of the game. That was Hudson Pino taking it into the zone here early. Some good energy going. The Rebels throwing a couple of hits here while the Dukes had a little bit of ozone time. A good first 88 seconds of this hockey game. It never fails to entertain here in Tyne Valley. You can hear the crowd getting into it now, and definitely the players' benches as the face-off is won by the Eastern Dukes. Taking that on out, Evan Bruce wearing number 19 tonight for the Eastern Dukes, a call-up defenseman, coming up from the U16 Charlottetown Islanders for tonight's matchup. As the stolen by Ace Oatway goes down the ice out to challenge it, and Oatway had a wide-open cage. A gutsy challenge by the goaltender. McCausland came all the way out to the top of the circle, but Oatway beat him at first, just couldn't finish the job there. It appeared to hit the side of the goal, as recovering with that was a massive hit from Sam Dowling. He's wearing number 34 tonight, an affiliate player up in the lineup here tonight for the Rebels. We have 4 affiliate players dressed for the Western Rebels tonight, as well as 2 for the Eastern Dukes. So lots of new faces here on the ice. That is dropped back to the line. London Corbett wearing number 22. He's one of those affiliate players in the lineup tonight. The Rebels trying to rough it up in there behind the Dukes net, and that will take a hop and land on the back of the netting. So we'll get a face-off inside the zone, but a couple of the players down there aren't quite done yet. They give each other a couple of shoves with 17:21 on the clock. Lots of action very early on in this latest Rebels-Dukes matchup. And if you want to know why this is such a great rivalry, just keep watching. We've certainly seen it here in the first couple of minutes, as that is stolen there by Brody Noy, keeping that in for the Rebels. If there is a line thrown at hit is Emmy Goody, wearing number 97 tonight, and it's a collision at center ice. Brody Noy was in the middle of that, colliding with McCormick of the Dukes. Out to play that out of his net is Mason McCausland, netminder tonight for Eastern. Kept in by London Corbett. Corbett threw it over to his teammate. That was Joe Arsenault throwing that in the direction of the goal. He missed wide. The Dukes scrambled to try and get that one out there. Evan Bruce, the first defenseman in there. It's a 2-on-2 battle down in the corner. Arsenault came out with the puck, tried the pass attempt. First one missed, but the second one came out to Corbett, and that one floats high and wide of the net as the Dukes try to settle things down with some Rebels players going for a change after the shift. One spin around out the other way is Kipton Aylward. Aylward played it to his D partner, Evan Bruce. Both will go for the change now, and the Dukes get it low the other way. That was led by McCormick in, but coming out rather unscathed are the Rebels. That's Tobin McEwen. Top line back out for the Western Rebels again here. Sam Surratt is the recipient to that pass and goes straight back to McEwen. McEwen enters the zone there. Doesn't quite have the puck on his stick, though, as a pair of Dukes jump in to try and steal it. That's Brady Allison hopping out with it. Allison, that goes over the head of his teammate Surratt. Surratt, the no-look back to Tobin McEwen. He steps around one Duke and almost another, but the hip check just got enough of McEwen to force that turnover. Allison knocks it down at center ice, but the Dukes will come right back at it as the teams contend for possession here in the neutral zone. Breaking in with the puck, here's a good chance, and that is stopped. First look at the puck this game for Dylan Weil. He makes the save. Dylan Weil is coming off a 5-2 victory here this time last Saturday, beating the Basin Armada. And we will get a face-off here to his left. As mentioned, the last game for both of these teams before before 2026 begins. The new year is in the middle of next week. This is the Rebels' final game before the East Coast Ice Jam. They kick it off early morning on January 8th. The Dukes will play a weekend series in Windsor, Nova Scotia, where they play the Kings Hockey Club, play a pair of games up in Nova Scotia. As we get a whistle, the official's arm is up as the Eastern Dukes touch up. And it looks like for the first time this game, the Western Rebels are going to the power play. It's a head contact penalty. The guilty party is Jackson Bowering, an important defenseman for this Dukes team. They'll miss him over the span of 2 minutes or less here. The Rebels have had a strong power play. They're clicking at 22.3% this season. That is the third best here in the 12-team Nova Scotia Under-16 AAA Hockey League. They're very dangerous, and the Dukes have struggled down short of man. Their penalty kill is the third worst. As Ben Harris quarterbacks his power play, but it's poked away here by the Dukes. It's a breakaway chance. Connor Arsenault is in alone. And it's stopped. Dylan Weil turned it aside. He didn't think he did at first. He was looking one way while the puck was sitting on the other. What an excellent shorthanded chance here for the Eastern Dukes. Connor Arsenault came in and tried to find a slick way to put it past Weil, but is kept out. We're still scoreless, but what a dangerous shorthanded opportunity there. I think the Rebels fans hold their breaths just a little bit when the Eastern Dukes go down shorthanded against this team in Tyne Valley. As we remember, in last year's Game 7, in the 4-0 Eastern Dukes win, the Dukes scored 2 of their goals shorthanded that game. And they almost had another one there. The face-off will come all the way back down to Western Zone. Winning that draw, Ellis Callahan. Ellis Callahan is back in the lineup. He missed both games last week against the Basin Armada. Brings a crucial element to secondary scoring to this Rebels team, who sits 5th in the league standings right now. They have 25 points this year. They were briefly in 4th against Basin, but after Basin beat them back by a 5-2 score on Sunday, they climb back in the 4th as Isaac Goody lets that shot go. That's off the legs of the defender, Evan Bruce. Bruce takes that to the corner, but the Rebels get it back, and we have a whistle behind the play as the Rebels try to move it around. Both referees have their arm up in the air on that one, and it appears we're going to get some 4-on-4 action here for 38 seconds. It's a slashing call. On his way to the box here is Zach Goody. He'll be off for 2 minutes, and the draw will come all the way down to the Rebel zone as the Eastern Dukes will get an abbreviated man advantage here in 38 seconds. The Dukes power play also very good, 20.3%. That's good for 4th in the league. And the Dukes won the draw, but a little too cleanly, as that'll come all the way back down to their own end. Picking that up is Quinn McDonald. He's going to throw that up to the corner. His pass intended for winger Campbell Dunn just missed, and it goes up the other way. And Dunn takes it up again. Here's the shot. Awful leg. That almost ricocheted back in behind Weil, and it goes wide. 12 seconds left in 4-on-4 action here as the puck goes all the way back down the other end of the ice. It is an icing call against the Western Rebels with 13:24 left here in the opening frame. Still no scoring here in Tyne Valley early in this one. The draw is won by the Dukes. Coming right out with it, that was Colin McCormick as Eastern begins their power play. Walking in is Isaac Goody. Goody tried to step around, a superb stick there by Quinn McDonald, turning that up and aside, coming back up the other way. Dukes are quickly on it, now on this man advantage. A shot from behind, that went to English, and the rebound went wide. It was on the stick of Campbell Dunn there for a second. Campbell Dunn is tied for third on the team in scoring. He has 19 points in 20 games this season. That's good for a tie for 11th place in league scoring here. Pass was intended up for Fisher of the Dukes, but the Rebels are quick to shoot it back down. Another 45 seconds in the power play, and driving right in there trying to make a play happen. That was Connor Hudson, the penalty killer for the Rebels, but he couldn't force anything up and off there. And Dunn tried to go in one-on-one and has dropped back to his defenseman. Here's the shot from distance, a good opportunity for Kipton Aylward of the Dukes. Coming out from in behind the net, that's Sam Dunn. Dunn tried to go cross crease there. Blake Hartman was fighting for position in front of that net, but the pass went up and over his stick, and the Rebels get it out and get a change in. Starting off is Aylward up on the other end. Come right up the ice with it. Blake Hartman leading that drive in. Preparing to step back out on the ice is Zach Goody with that slashing call. As the Rebels penalty comes to an end, both teams with big penalty kills here to begin this one as we remain scoreless, nearing the midway point of the first period here in Tyne Valley. Pass was intended for McCormick coming up and out of the zone. It went by him, and back to get it is London Corbett. Corbett only gets it as far as center ice, chipped back into the zone by Henry. And Ben Harris will grab that in behind the net for the Western Rebels. Rebels trying to settle things down as they readjust to 5-on-5 action here. Ace Oatway had that puck for half a second there at center ice. Teams playing a little hot potato here in the neutral zone. Shot attempt there by Cohen Godkin. He couldn't get the second attempt off that time. Ace Oatway will enter the zone for the Rebels. Tried to feed it to the backhand of Joe Arsenault, but it went between his stick and his skates. And the Dukes will try to come out with it again. William Henry leading the charge. The defenseman comes in the far side boards in front of the Rebels bench, and he is cleaned up and out of the play. Huge hit there by Ben Harris. Oh, what a play. Drops back to Jackson Gardner on defense. And the Rebels bench is still fired up after that Harris hit. It squirted out. Good pad save by Weil as it's chipped up and onto the boards. The Dukes trying to hold the zone, but they are outnumbered and outmatched there by the Rebels as Ace Oatway will take it in solo into the other end. And after a long stretch of play without a break, we finally get a cover-up by the goaltender Mason McCausland as we hit 10-17 here in the first period. Still no score between the Rebels and the Dukes. The draw is won by Western, but the Eastern Dukes are quick up to get it. Coming back in a hurry to recover that one, that's Ben Phillips, the right-handed defenseman for the Rebels. The Rebels will need a big effort from all of their defensemen and their call-ups here tonight as two of their top scoring D-men are out of the lineup tonight. That includes Luke McGilvery and Daniel Pigeon. McGilvery is the top scoring defenseman on the team. He has 9 points this year. Pigeon is second on the team with 8 points, so they're missing 17 points of production from their blue line here tonight, the Rebels. As it's dropped back, here's a chance, he scores! Colin McCormick opens to scoring a wide open net, and he ain't missing that one. McCormick, 6th in the league in scoring. That's going to be his 13th goal of the campaign as the Eastern Dukes take a 1-0 lead here in Tyne Valley. And that is how fast the Dukes can make things happen in this hockey game. They're the highest scoring team in the league, 88 goals this year. That's 5 goals more than the second place St. John Vito's. But a big reason for that is because of that man, the captain, Colin McCormick. You never want to leave him alone. And you just saw why as the Dukes get a huge opening goal here in Tyne Valley. In behind the net for the Dukes is Mason English trying to feed it out front. Wide open there. That was a golden chance for Quincy McLennan. But Dylan Weil scoops that up and makes a big follow-up save after that Eastern Dukes goal. With the win, the Dukes can tie the Cabot Highlanders for second place in the Nova Scotia Under 16 AAA Hockey League. Potentially a big milestone heading into the new calendar year here. Curling around with it is McLennan. McLennan fitted back and drives to the net looking for the return pass. Tried to swing around and knock it on the bouncing puck on the backhand, but he missed. Driving in is Aylward, the big righty for the Eastern Dukes. Dumps it in, but nobody was home over in the opposite corner of the ice. Retreating back to play that puck is Evan Bruce, and he will chuck it back into the Rebel zone behind the blue line there. Having to take that out. It's almost given away there to English, but his teammates help him out. Here comes Ace Otway flying up the right wing. He is challenged by a pair of Dukes there. As Otway goes in behind the net, and a big hit laid there by Evan Bruce. Bruce making an impact here as the call up here this evening for the Dukes. Otway gets right back up and chases after it, and again taken down. That time looked like Aylward on the rebound. Couple of golden chances right on top of the net. Hudson Pino firing away again at Mason McCausland, but McCausland says no and shuts the door. A couple of huge saves there for the Dukes netminder. There's a reason he's seen success here this season. A 190 goals against average, good for fourth in the league, a 927 save percentage as well. Very impressive numbers from number 31 between the pipes for the road team here. Tie up off the draw, stick handling around. Quinn McDonald, the defenseman, got it up the half wall in front of his own bench. There's a pair of Rebels in there digging hard though, led by Isaac Goody, and Goody lays a hit behind the play. Couple of body checks there by the Rebels here, trying to get some fire under their team as the puck went up to McCormick of the Dukes. McCormick just moments ago scoring the opening marker of this hockey game. He took a wide open feed at the back door. Pretty much an open net goal there, and a big one here for the Dukes in what has been a competitive first 12 minutes of this hockey game. Face-off won by the Dukes, back to McDonald's. It's a D-to-D pass and then a dump in as the McCormick line remains on here for the Dukes. Matchup against Zach Goody as well as Caleb Smallman. Leaned away for the Rebels on this shift. Goody will break it in himself, supported by Smallman as well as Isaac Goody. The Goody line, both from Tignish here for this Western Rebels team. Works his way down to Caleb Smallman. He'll go in one-on-one. He's knocked off the puck by Quinn McDonald. Coming in support of Zach Goody, laying a big hit as it's a 2-on-2 battle in behind the boards. And McDonald will come away with the puck for the Dukes. Good defensive play. It's coming back the other way. It was Blake Hartman going for a skate. Hartman was joined up there by Nash Langiel. He's down there in the corner trying to win that back on the forecheck, but the puck will squirt all the way back out to center ice in front of the bleachers here, as both teams will get a change in. All the way back to William Henry. Henry threw it around Joe Arsenault, who was trying to intercept that puck, and going down with Ben Phillips as Fisher walks in for the Dukes, but making the save, coming up with a timely glove, was Dylan Weil. A good opportunity for Cash Fisher from Charlottetown. As the face-off will come to the right of Weil on the close side of your screen to the left. Face-off won by Western. But the Dukes quickly take it back. Here's the shot from the point. It's Henry turning around on the back foot on that one, and that was deflected wide. Henry retains the puck, throws it immediately into the feet of Phillips, and intercepting that for a second was Cohen Godkin. Godkin joined there on the forecheck by Jackson Gardner, making up this forward line for the Eastern Dukes. Godkin right in the swing of things there. He is pinned to the boards. Good battle up against Emmy Goody. Pass intended for Cash Fisher down the corner. Fisher is a big power forward for this team. Tough battle there to go up against for Sam Dowling. Dowling wearing number 34. He's one of the 4 APs in the lineup here tonight for the Rebels. The fourth of those APs is the backup goaltender tonight, Caden McGregor, called up from the U15 Prince County Warriors here for this evening's game. That's out to the line, Hunter Burke, wearing number 22. He's an AP for the Eastern Dukes, one of 2 on the Eastern Blue Line here this evening. Emmy Goody goes on up the boards. Pass intended for Arsenault and finally retrieved at the far blue line by Connor Hudson. Hudson tries to dump it in and go immediately for the change. The Dukes do the same thing as fresh bodies for both teams step onto the ice here with 5 minutes left in this first period as Eastern Dukes hanging on to a 1-0 lead. They've controlled most of the second half of this period so far, starting with that McCormick goal about 5 minutes ago. Stumped in by Brady Allison as the Rebels get their top line on. Intended for Surratt. And it's dangerous to leave him with that much space, but he fanned on the shot and went wide as Dunn takes it back the other way for the Dukes. Racing and grabbed that puck was Blake Hartman. Hartman joining Dunn on that line along with Colin McCormick. Shot back down by Evan Bruce. Bruce played it back to center and it almost landed on the backhand of McCormick, who was right in there one-on-one up against London Corbett. Played up for Brady Allison. In support was Tobin McEwen. McEwen in 2-on-1. The shot. Rebound almost came in. Big blocker save there. Great one by Mason McCausland, keeping that one out. So there's a 2-on-1 against two of the Rebels' top scorers with Surratt wide open on the other wing. Pop back to Noy at the line. Noy at the end of the shift will dump that one in. Both teams will hop on over the boards here. Taking it back the other way, that's Kipton Aylward. Aylward pass intended up for Mason English. It missed him, but now English will get to the puck first at the other end. He's knocked off it by Rebel. Passed in front. That almost made its way out to Quincy McLennan in the slot, but instead gets on the stick of Ace Otway. Oh, what a move to the backhand. Tried to swing it across at the last second. He lost a handle on it. Hudson Pino, his line mate, was driving right to the crease. As the Dukes make their way back the other way, Quinn McDonald looking for one of his wingers there, but instead it'll roll right to Weil, who will cover up for the stop. This is the first away game officially in league play anyway. The Eastern Dukes have played in almost 2 months. The last time they played away from either their Charlottetown or their Montague home was November 1st in Truro against the Fundy Thunder. In that time frame, they played at the Monctonian, a tournament away from home. But for their first away game in an almost 2-month period, going to Tyne Valley for a big one against the Rebels is certainly a good way to go, as that shot from the point is deflected up into the mesh and knocked out of play with 2:52 remaining here in the opening frame. The Rebels playing a string of games here at home. Of course, they had 2 last week against the Basin Armada. Three holiday games here close to home for this Rebels team. A big rest for them before they embark on the Ice Jam. And a busy road schedule to begin the 2026 calendar year. They only play 3 more regular season games here in Tyne Valley between now and the end of the regular season at the very end of February. They'll be playing a lot of games off island here, a lot of travel here in this Nova Scotia / Maritime under-16 hockey league here. 2 PEI teams, 2 New Brunswick teams, the rest based out of Nova Scotia, 12 teams in total. That's Zach Goody trying to get it to his teammate there, Isaac Goody. As the Rebels play back and forth in their own zone, the Dukes with a very relentless forecheck here. First line always makes it happen for the away team. So Isaac Goody tried to go in one-on-one up against Hunter Burke of the Dukes. He's knocked off it, and the play goes off into the corner on the close side half wall to your right. Played out front, Isaac Goody tried to pull it to the forehand. He couldn't quite get it. The Dukes haven't been allowing a lot very close to the net, as Colin McCormick takes it back the other way. Laid it back for Langill. Oh, is a big blocker save there by Weil as he tried to sneak it in on the short side. McCormick coming back out with it, back to the line. Here's the shot from distance, originating off the stick of Bowering, but that goes up and wide. Coming out the other way comes London Corbett for the Rebels. Western will dump it in. Corbett, the defenseman, is the first guy in there for Western, as Gardner gets the puck for the Dukes. Approaching the 1-minute mark here remaining in the first period. Played down by Godkin. Out to recover it in the corner. That's Cash Fisher. Quickly played up in front of the net. No shot coming from that one, but the puck did come out of the zone, or at least it appeared that way. The Dukes were able to keep it in somehow. As it's played up and out of the zone to the red line at center ice. The Dukes will dump it in with 40 seconds left in the period, trying to hold all the play down here. They've controlled most of this first period here. The Rebels had a little energy here in the first few shifts here in Tyne Valley, but it's been mostly Eastern here tonight as walking right in. Oh, great opportunity, looking to go high shoulder on Dylan Wiley, made the save. That was Cohen Godkin walking in. He had a great shift on the forecheck and everything here for this Dukes team, and he almost finished it off with a beauty of a goal, but Weil was ready and on top of that one for the Rebels. Face-off, though, will come to the goaltender's left. Jumping in to take the draw is Brady Allison for the Rebels, but he'll lose it to Godkin of the Dukes, and the Dukes get the shot on Weil, but will repeat the face-off in the exact same place just 3 seconds later. This time Surratt will jump in on the defensive zone draw for Western. And he's going to win it for the Rebels. Coming on out with it, Ty Collins shooting that up and out of the zone. Maybe a last minute attempt here for the Rebels with time ticking down here in the first period. Allison throws a big hit but couldn't get on the puck. McEwen came to retrieve him and Surratt tried to shoot at it, but it was a bouncing puck and he didn't quite get it as the Dukes take it deep. Or not so deep as it hit a player on the Rebels bench, so we'll get a stoppage of play with 1.4 on the clock here in the opening frame here in Tyne Valley. Face-off will be in front of the Rebels bench. The linesmen change their mind here. It'll be in front of the Dukes bench. And time runs out here in the first period. And who else for the Eastern Dukes but Colin McCormick to open the scoring for the Dukes here in this, what they call the Summit Series up here in PEI, or what the teams have been calling it here recently, the second of 3 regular season meetings between the Eastern Dukes and the Western Rebels. And so far, the Eastern side have the edge. They lead 1-0 after 20 minutes of play here in Tyne Valley. We'll be back here on High Button Sports in about 10 minutes here for more action for the second period, so stay tuned. Well, welcome back to Tyne Valley here at the Cavendish Farms Community Events Center. 1-0 for the Eastern Dukes after 20 minutes of play. That goal coming off the stick of none other than Colin McCormick, their leading scorer. That's his 13th goal of the year, his 25th point of the year. And with his 25th point of the campaign, that ties him for 5th in the Nova Scotia Under-16 AAA Hockey League in scoring, with Brady Allison, the centerman for the Western Rebels, squaring off just across the ice from him this evening. This is the second of 2 games across the league today. The Basin Armada with another win, their second straight. They beat the Dartmouth Voyageurs by a 5-1 score today at Cole Harbour Place in Cole Harbour. Mason Auld with a pair of goals in that one. Seth O'Leary also scored in that game. That is his 3rd straight goal where he found the back of the net. He scored in both games here last weekend in Tyne Valley during the win and a loss just before Christmas. It's not the only score hockey fans are keeping an eye on here this evening, with the 3rd period going on in the World Junior Hockey Championship game between Team Canada and Team Latvia. It's always been close in recent years between those two, but the Canadians are leading by 1-0 at my latest update. Nonetheless, a nerve-wracker there, and it's a nerve-wracker too, as Colin McCormick and his line is right back down the ice to kick off this period for the Dukes. Here's a shot from very close range here in the second attempt. Nobody could find it there. The referee had to blow the whistle. Campbell Dunn with a pair of opportunities right off the opening flick of the stick here in Tyne Valley. Campbell Dunn is also not a guy you want to have the puck if you're the Western Rebels. Dunn is 3rd on the team with 19 points, on the season, as the Rebels get it up and out of the zone. Quinn McDonald got it out the center ice for the Dukes, but it's taken back in. They'll have to start again. Ben Harris tried to curl around and get that puck out. He had lost in his feet, but got it far enough up for Sam Surrett. McEwen back to Surrett. He comes in the close side, tried to get it down low, looking to beat Mason McCausland either under the glove or through the 5-hole, but McCausland is ready for it, and he has made some big saves here. At least very timely saves anyway for the Eastern Dukes. The Rebels, for the first 5-6 minutes of this hockey game, were getting some good looks on McCausland, but he has kept the puck out thus far in this hockey game with his first save there of the second period as Eastern wins the draw. It's Evan Bruce down for it, the defenseman. He takes a big hit there, though, and the Rebels take it, the shot, and the net is knocked off right on top of the net. Hudson Pino, a point-blank opportunity of McCausland, and the Dukes netminder again stops the puck with another big save. The Rebels didn't seem very happy that the net came off in the manner that it did. It was a battle there, and another grade A opportunity as the Rebels have had a knack this evening for starting the periods off strong. Now the challenge is to find that tying goal. The draw will be here to the right of Mason McCormick, and it is tied up on the face-off, but Pino of the Rebels will come out with it. Goes in one-on-one, drops to Otway out there on that line. Waiting up out front in the slot is Ellis Callahan, rounding out the second line for Western. Shot all the way back down the ice, right onto the stick of Dylan Wild, the goaltender. Played in behind the net by Sam Dowling. And his partner took a big hit there as it's brought in front. Right on top of the net was English for the Eastern Dukes, and it's brought back the other way. Ellis Callahan trying to make a move, looking for a big jump around Kipton Aylward, the defenseman for the Dukes. But he breaks it up, and Eastern will take it back in their own zone. Tried to play it up. Up there on the rush was Mason English, but the puck was in behind him. And the Dukes ice the puck there, and the face-off will come back down all the way the other way. The Dukes 3rd in the league here. They have 14 wins this season. Only 4 regulation losses in 20 games played. This is their 21st game of the campaign. As mentioned off the top, while the regular season length for both teams is roughly the same, we're seeing few of those against the Island teams. Last year, these teams met 8 times during the regular season. They'll only meet 3 times here before they square off in the Island final in March, as the Dukes come away with it after some Rebels pressure in the O-zone. Shot back down the other way. It's knocked off to the side by Weil, and on top of that puck is Quincy McLennan. Knocked off the puck, though, on a hit for the Rebels as they come away on the counterattack. That's Smallman. Smallman out there on that line with the goodies. Zach and Isaac, both of Tignish PEI. Caleb Smallman threw that hit, but lost it to the Dukes and coming out with a lot of speed. That's Dunn looking for the cross-ice pass. Langeal was driving to the net, but a good defensive play by Noy to break it up. And it rolled right in front of Wild, the goalie, but it's knocked down. The Rebels trying to get that out. And as Campbell Dunn went to shoot that from the slot, it rode up the stick of a Rebels defender and went all the way into the ceiling here in Tyne Valley for a stoppage of play and a face-off in the Rebels zone. Lots of action here again to start this second period. The draw will be to the right a while. Brady Allison taking the defensive zone draw for the Rebels, but lost it to Campbell Dunn of the Dukes. It's in the feet of Tobin McEwen, who didn't see it coming from behind him, but it's enough to get the puck out from the Rebel zone. It's right back in, though. First to the puck is Connor Arsenault for the Dukes. Supporting him down low, Hunter Burke, but he misses as well, and his D partner, William Henry, will have to come back for it. Caught behind the ref and his own net down in his own end, but it'll come back up the other way. Nash Langeal hits Dunn on the pass over to the far side, and 10 for William Henry comes all the way in. Turning around is Campbell Dunn. Dunn spins off one Rebels defender, tries to get it back to Burke at the line, but the puck is a bit too vicious and it skips by him. It's a foot race the other way. Sam Surratt of the Rebels right on the defender Connor Arsenault in a mad foot race on the forecheck. Turns the puck over to the Rebels. Almost came back to the Dukes there at center ice, and Arsenault will retain the puck for Eastern. Looking back for Nash Langeal. The Dukes tried to get it through on the second attempt through the neutral zone, and Cohen Godkin will dump it into the opposite corner where Arsenault retrieves it. He's supported there by Langeal. Drop for Godkin. Godkin at the bottom of the circle, looking right out front for Arsenault. He's been everywhere on the shift as he looked for the second attempt pass across for Langeal. Coming in support is Quinn McDonald. McDonald is knocked off the puck there, but gets it all the way back to Bowering on defense. Godkin back there to support his defenseman, who is caught in deep. Still skating after his Langeal, but finally Ben Harris of the Rebels buys enough time after a long defensive shift, and Western will take it back out the other way. That's Emmy Goody coming up the close side wing. It's a drop pass to Brady Allison. Allison, that's off a skate and wide. Joe Arsenault is first on the rebound attempt for Western, but it's right into the skates of a Dukes player as a brief rugby scrum emerged in front of the Rebels gate there in their own zone. But it comes back the other way as Cohen Godkin closely pressuring a Rebels player, and that was a huge hit there after it was played away. Jackson Gardner coming in to lay a heavy body check on top of the defenseman, and the save is made, and the puck will come back down the other way for a face-off in the Western Rebels zone. 15:21 left here in the second period. Still a 1-0 score in favor of the Eastern Dukes. Face-off is won by Eastern in the Rebel zone as Gardner played it out front. It's off a high stick. Will we get a whistle? No, we won't. Bowering came in to play it for the Dukes and knocked it up and away, and it's shot down the other way by the Western Rebels as the puck skips up and over for an icing call, and another stoppage of play as we'll get another face-off all the way down in Western's end to the right of your screen. These teams will meet one more time here this season, February 16th, Islander Day here in Prince Edward Island. It'll be a matinee, 12 o'clock puck drop on what would otherwise be a Monday, as it's given away to the Rebels. Briefly with the puck on a stick was Connor Hudson, but he couldn't get the shot off. Right at the hash marks in close proximity to the goaltender, Mason McCausland. He's coming up with the puck is Cash Fisher. Fisher looks at his options. He had some time and space to make something there, but it hit a skate and was given away to Emmy Goody of the Rebels. He's going to dump it in. His line mates will all go for a change coming on at the end of a change. They were stuck out there on that last icing call as Cohen Godkin comes up with the puck, trying to go up one-on-one against Noy. Godkin will resort to the dump into the corner, goes into the opposite corner for Gardner. It's a pass in front. Godkin was ready for it, and with a big block there and hurting is Hudson Pino. He is down and out as the Dukes tried to get the second shot. Pino is going right to the bench after that one, favoring the arm there. Out there with Ellis Callahan, Oatway in support. Callahan tried to look for the top shelf on Mason McCausland, but it's out the other way. Counterattack for the Dukes. There's Hartman. He tried to get across the line, but his teammate was pushed offside. They have to check up. Right on top of the puck, Campbell Dunn. He's out there with McCormick and Hartman on this shift, and now McCormick has the puck, the captain for this Dukes team, the goal scorer in this game. Leaves it for Campbell Dunn, and Dunn throws it from perimeter into the breadbasket of Dylan Weil, and he'll make the save with 13:31 left on the clock here in this second period. Again, no shortage of action as the Dukes, again, much like last period, pressuring the Rebels closely in their own zone for consecutive shifts. And for the third or maybe fourth stoppage straight, they'll get a face-off down in the western zone, and they win the draw. It came right to Weil. Looked like he might have wanted to cover it up, but it quickly squirted away from him. Taken away by Campbell Dunn, forces back to Jackson Bowering. At the point, the rebound came right out front, and right on top of that were a pair of Dukes, including McCormick, who almost pulled that puck back out of the scrum for his second of the night. But in just the nick of time, Dylan Weil scoops it up again and forces another draw, this time to his right. Isaac Goody taking this face-off, going up against McCormick. In the feet of McCormick, he tried to drive that right to the net. It was knocked away. Bowering briefly kept that in for Eastern, but the Rebels take it back out the other way. That's Isaac Goody skipping it in. He tried to skate after it until Mason McCausland came out of the net, the goalie, to play it. That's him blocking it off up into the mesh for the whistle and the stoppage of play. The draw will come to his left as both teams complete some line changes with 13 minutes left here in the second period. Still a 1-0 lead for East. As Brady Allison won the draw for the Rebels, it's given away by Ty Collins. It's a 2-on-1 for the Dukes. Come back the other way. Oh, an excellent opportunity, and they're still digging for it around Dylan Weil's net. Oh, so close. Sam Dunn, second on the team on the Eastern Dukes in scoring with 21 points in as many games. Almost doubled the lead here for the Eastern Dukes on the 2-on-1. But a huge save here at this point in the game for Dylan Weil, who will force a face-off to his left. As we get a scrum off the draw, it's one up, attended for Tobin McEwen going back up the other way. Sam Surratt would have been first to that puck for the Rebels as it came back down toward Mason McCausland's net for the Dukes, but McCausland will cover up as it rolls right into his glove, and we'll get another face-off here in a flurry of face-offs here at this juncture as we approach the midway point of the hockey game. Allison wins that draw for the Rebels. Tobin McEwen went to shoot it, and it's again off a stick for another whistle and another stoppage of play. Both of these teams, the class of the league in their own respective ways. Lots of metrics to compare that, whether it's Island Championships or Atlantic Championships. The Rebels also having won the Monctonian in November. The Eastern Dukes will go into the East Coast Ice Jam as the defending champions in the U16 division. So these teams know how to win hockey games and how to win the big prizes. As Sam Surratt walks in to Allison. Oh, what a stop. Mason McCausland flashes the leather on Allison. Allison has his head in the air and his gloves high up as he really thought he was going to beat McCausland on the backhand. But the Eastern Dukes netminder has been lights out between the pipes tonight. And that is his biggest save of the game so far. Both Allison and Sam Surratt going in on a 2-on-1 there in the Rebels. Both teams with respective 2-on-1s here. And separated by about a minute of play. Both goaltenders coming up with big saves as that is dumped into the zone by Sam Dunn for the Dukes as his line mates go for a change. Rebels right back up the other way. Here's Hudson, the shot. Connor Hudson tried to get that to the net, but that's off a leg out there with Joe Arsenault and Emmy Goody on the forward lines. Goody drove right to the net. It was batted away by McCausland, and up and out of the zone comes to center ice where Brody Noy will slap that back in up around the boards. Very active in his net this evening. Mason McCausland not afraid to go out in behind the line to make life a little easier on his defenseman. Here's a stretch pass for Arsenault. He's got some room. Tried to go blocker side on Dylan Weil, but rolls up around. The Rebels couldn't get the counterattack going there. Joe Arsenault was looking at his options in front of the Duke's bench, but a Duke was going for a change at that time, and it took up time and space on the ice. And there's a big hit thrown there. Ace Otway throws the body. He likes to do that for this Rebels team, and he lays out William Henry right up on the ice as Emmy Goody threw that on net. Connor Hudson had the puck on the rebound attempt for the Rebels, was taken out by Connor Arsenault, who had a breakaway a second ago. Langiel walks in. He has some time. Try to throw it back to Arsenault. Langiel lost in the skates of the opponent, Otway, for the Rebels. Otway will take it again. A very physical player, getting that Rebels bench fired up just moments ago with a big hit. But now the Dukes are pressing and pressuring the Rebels down the other way. But Pino will take it out for Western. Feeds Otway. He has the puck in front of his own bench. Tries to cut to the middle. Swung it through a pair of legs. Then tried to tuck it up over top of McCausland. But he was hugging the post and made a good save. And intended the other way for Fisher. Will he beat the icing? No, it's off a stick. It's waved off. Pressuring Ty Collins, the Rebels defenseman. Collins gives it away. Up at the line, Ben Harris has to help him out, and it's brought back. We're getting counterattack after counterattack here now. Hudson Pino tried to cut to the middle. It's off a Duke stick and up and out. And again the other way. Here comes Cohen Godkin, another odd man rush. Actually, the Dukes are outmatched there, but the guy was hanging back as Fisher almost took it, and Fisher forced the turnover for the Dukes as the Rebels tried to get that one out. Lots of action here midway through the second period, and they're still not done yet here. The players are slowing down. You can tell that they're getting tired as Pino dumps it in and goes right to the bench. Ellis Callahan also at the end of a shift there tried to manufacture something here at this point in the shift for the Rebels, trying to walk in. Ace Otway still out there on the ice. Brought back up the other way, intended for Cohen Godkin, but he'll beat the icing. He's tired too. Tries to make the play up for his defenseman, but the puck is a little light, and that's going to be a 2-on-1. Isaac Goody leaning it the other way with Caleb Smallman, and a heads-up defensive play by Jackson Bowering, who is rubbed up out of the play. They're not done yet. Caleb Smallman from distance. He couldn't get that off the ice. That's off the side of the goal cage. Colin McCormick, it's a one-on-one battle there. He's out-muscled there by the big centerman for the Rebels, Caleb Smallman. And we're going to have a penalty coming up. Looks like it's going to go to Western as it's shot out the other end by the Dukes, and touching up was the Rebels defender. And for the second time this evening, the Eastern Dukes at such a critical juncture will go to the power play here. They're 0 for 1 here so far tonight as they try to double their 1-0 lead here in Tyne Valley. The Dukes are 0 for 1 here so far tonight. They have a strong power play though. 20.3% is their clip. That's good for 4th in the league. They're just behind the Western Rebels in that statistic. Out of 12 teams here in the Nova Scotia Under-16 AAA Hockey League, as the Rebels have a good start to their penalty kill and get that up into the zone. Rebels penalty kill pumping along at 84% this season. 6 out of 12 teams in the league. Lean it the other way is Sam Dunn, second on this Dukes team in scoring here this season, 9th in the league. Colin McCormick, the captain, manning the point, but that's going to force a turnover. He'll take it himself here, and we'll finally set up here for the Dukes. Get it in down low. That's Sam Dunn, the big power forward in the corner, as it's intercepted and shot on down the wing by London Corbett, but he couldn't get past Campbell Dunn, of the Dukes, who is camping out up by the blue line. Swung to the far side half wall. Quinn McDonald, quarterback in this power play on defense. Campbell Dunn tried to force it up through the center, but it's off a stick and in behind and to the far side. McDonald to McCormick, off a pair of shin pads in front. It was his own teammate. It was off Mason English, who's playing the net front position. Battling hard there against London Corbett, getting big penalty killing responsibilities as the call up this evening for the Western Rebels, wearing number 22 on the fence. Quinn McDonald, as the puck is forced out, will get it back up and in again. That's Mason English taking it. Driving to the net is McCormick, but the pass was wide. It was a bit ahead of him, and it was enough for the puck to be steered wide and back the other way. So the Dukes have to reset. Only 15 seconds left on this Dukes power play. They were a little late getting set up. When they got in, they had some good pressure but couldn't generate the shot so far, but they might have one more opportunity here before a player steps back on and dragged down behind the play. It rolls to Weil, and the puck is covered up by Weil as only 1 second remains on this penalty charge to Caleb Smallman. Face-off will be to the left here. And for fans following the World Juniors game, of course, Latvia has tied it in the third period. Only about a minute left of play in that game in regulation. For the second straight year, that game is heading to overtime. What a time to be a Canadian hockey fan, that is for sure. Ups and downs, whether it's a Four Nations win last year or losing games like that to Latvia at the World Juniors. As fans are flipping between the channels all across the country. Lots of different sports and that kind of thing on at this time of year. And, of course, flipping to the channel here to High Button Sports to see this highly, highly anticipated matchup, which is not disappointed so far. Not a lot of scoring. Some great goaltending at both ends, especially by McCausland of the Dukes. He'll get a challenge here. As Brady Allison tried to go in one-on-one earlier in the period. Brady Allison almost beat McCausland to the backhand, but the goaltender got the glove on that to keep it scoreless where it sits right now. Allison working it out front. Tobin McEwen out there on that line. Stacking this top line is the Western Rebels, joined there by Sam Surrett, their leading scorer on the wing. And right down into the zone, we get a whistle behind the play. The Dukes were changing. It appears to be just an offside call, though. It'll come to the close side dot in the neutral zone, just outside the Rebels' blue line. The Dukes are trying to get back on the winning track. They have won 7 of their last 9 league games. Their only losses in that span have been to the Rebels, which they lost 4-3 a couple of weeks ago in Montague. And their last game on Sunday, a 2-1 loss to the Martello Buccaneers at home in Montague. They had beat Martello the day before 7-1 at the Simmons Arena in Charlottetown. Was down to that arena in Charlottetown today, a beautiful new facility. Miss the memories of playing in the old one, but the new one will be a fun one to play in for years for the next generation of hockey talent. As Duke goes in down and beyond the net, that was Hunter Burke rushing the puck up the other way. And Eastern comes out through with it. With that puck is Mason English. English takes it all the way back around the net. He's supported by Sam Dunn as Western tries to force it up and out the other way. Dancing with it is Quincy McLennan. Right around center ice as Eastern dumps it up and in. That's Brody Noy with the puck for the Rebels. Shot up to the red line at center ice. 4:30 remaining in this period. There have been no goals scored in this middle frame here. Only goal so far is Colin McCormick midway through the first period. That's where we stand on the score now, 1-0 as Campbell Dunn tried to swoop in and take that puck for the Dukes. The Dukes starting to throw that body a little bit more in this second period as well. Rebels not bowing away from the physical side either, but have struggled to set up down in the other zone and generate some chances. They'll need them to beat a goaltender like McCausland tonight, who has been on. Played up the other way. Originate off the stick of Hunter Burke. Comes down for Campbell Dunn. trying to get that toward the net. Hartman was driving the goal crease for the Eastern Dukes. Parked out front is McCormick, as Ace Outway takes it out for the Western Rebels. Takes it in front of his own bench. Met up there as Outway will go for a skate. Tries to drive it in on the close side. He hits the side of the net on the wrong side, so it doesn't go in. Outway takes it around. Throwing around to the back. Here's the shot, and it is scooped up again. Another big save by McCausland. That one off the stick of Phillips for the Rebels. Ben Phillips. A good look there. But as we've seen tonight, if McCausland sees that puck, he's going to stop it. Ellis Callahan and Mason English taking this face-off to the left of the goaltender. 3:23 remaining in the second period. Up to Connor Arsenault playing the right wing for the Dukes. He'll play it back to his defenseman though and gets it up to Mason English. That generates a 2-on-1. English and Connor Arsenault. English walks in and getting the shoulder on that one. Another big save for Dylan Weil. McCausland has been great in the Dukes net, but Weil has been near perfect as well. He's made some timely saves for this Rebels team and have kept them in it here in the second period, which has been mostly controlled by the Dukes. English and Ellis Callahan taking that draw again. It's won by Mason English for the Dukes. Thrown on net. Dylan Weil struggled to see that one, but it went up and over the crossbar and wide of the net. Is chipped up and out along the boards. Ace Outway is in pursuit of the puck. Chased there by Quinn McDonald, the Dukes defenseman. McDonald comes out with it, plays it very cleanly up for Arsenault. Connor Arsenault, we've seen he has a lot of speed here, and he was looking for English, who was coming up in late. As it got caught between the skates of Mason English, he's coming up off on the end of the shift. As Jackson Bowring plays it out for the Dukes up at center ice, Langeal grabs that one and dumps it in up around the boards. Connor Arsenault recovers right up in front of the net. That was almost a chance for Nash Langeal, but he'll take it himself for a skate going up along the far side. That was intended for Cohen Godkin. But Langeal will dump that in, and his line mates will go for a change with just over 2 minutes remaining here in the second frame. The Dukes keeping this puck pinned in down low, keeping some tired Rebels players out there during the long change here in the middle frame. Jackson Gardner tried to keep that puck in for Eastern. It's knocked out, though, by the Rebels. Isaac Goody defending there. Goes by him, though, as Cash Fisher is in pursuit of the puck. It's a good one-on-one battle there against Sam Dowling, and Western will come away with it. Up for Ace Outway, who will chip it up out of the zone. We're going to get an opportunity here as Hudson Pino goes in one-on-one. Supported by Outway. It's knocked away. Drop for Arsenault, and that's off a pair of shin pads. A big block there by the big body Kipton Aylward for the Dukes. Knocked back the other way and now on the counterattack. Walking is Cash Fisher, but he's knocked off it. Almost got it back there dangerously close to the Rebels net. But Western will force it up and out the other way as it's flipped up into the zone. Zach Goody leading the charge here this time for Western, out in that line with Isaac Goody and Caleb Smallman, as a pair of players fall down the corners, one from the Dukes, one from the Rebels. Goody is just barely getting up. He was on the ice for a while, and they're not done with the activity down and behind the play as they're chipping away at each other. Coming back, and now with a break is Cash Fisher. He has some room, and he fired that wide. He leaned into that one. He's joined there on the rush by Mason English, but the Dukes couldn't get that much desired second goal that they have been pushing hard for in the second period but haven't been able to achieve, as Isaac Goody takes it into the zone for the Rebels. They'll get another chance here before the period's out. 35 seconds left as Cale Smallman lets it go. Big blocker saved by Mason McCausland, kept in by Ben Harris. That puck is airborne, gloved down by Smallman and played down for Zach Goody. Goody with Smallman driving to the net. He loses it. It's played up again into the feet of Smallman. He couldn't control the puck, and falling down was Ty Collins. Zach Goody swings in behind the net, looking at his options. He only has 10 seconds before the buzzer. Ben Harris looking to find a shooting lane. He's defended there hard by Sam Dunn. He gets it off the pad. Second attempt on the shot, 1 second, and the Rebels couldn't get the second attempt off, and that will end the period. There's a couple players shoving at each other there behind the play. It's Kipton Aylward and Zach Goody, who seemed to be caught in behind the play there. But after 40 minutes of play, it's still a 1-0 lead for the Eastern Dukes. We'll be right back here. And welcome back to the Cavendish Farms Community Event Center here in Tyne Valley PEI for the third period here between the Eastern Dukes and the Western Rebels in the so-called U16 Summit Series here in Nova Scotia Under 16 AAA Hockey League action. As the Dukes clinging on to a 1-0 lead, just that goal standing from Colin McCormick from way back midway through the first period. That's the difference right now, as the Dukes getting lots of chances here late in that second period. The Rebels trying to find an answer, but have come up short. They're third in the league in goals scored. They have 80 goals scored this year. But in the last three periods of hockey, dating back to Sunday against Basin, they have been shut out, and they've only scored twice in the last 5 periods of play. Very unusual for this usual high-octane Rebels offense. At the same time, not enough is said about the defensive abilities of the Eastern Dukes. We've seen it time and time again this year. We know them for their scoring. They have the most goals in the league, but they've only allowed 44 goals this year. That is the second best metric in the league this year. The only team that has allowed fewer goals is the Cabot Highlanders of Western Cape Breton. They've only allowed 33 past them in 20 games. That's about just over a goal and a half a game, a very impressive mark. But the Duke's not far behind them when we're talking about the amount of goals allowed. Mason McCausland hasn't allowed any. He has been fantastic so far between the pipes for Eastern. His 190 goals against average is the 4th best in that department, as he scoops up for an early save here only 16 seconds into the period here in the third period in Tyne Valley. And speaking of action around the league and around the hockey world, Michael Hage with the overtime winner as Canada hangs on to beat Latvia by a 2-1 score in another nail-biter for the second straight year. The Latvians challenging to beat the Canadians. They were successful last year, winning in a shootout, but they come up short this year as it gets behind Weil. He scores! The Dukes double their lead. And it looks like Weil had scooped up a rather innocent-looking slap of a shot from the corner, but Campbell Dunn with the second goal of the hockey game for the Eastern Dukes, as the Rebels are shocked by that one as they convene on the crease. And a big one for Eastern, only 26 seconds here into the third period. That is a big one for the Dukes out of the dressing rooms. Campbell Dunn was first on the puck there down in the corner and threw it on net to Dylan Weil, but it fooled him and fell just in behind his legs. And that is the difference so far, making it 2-0. Rebels are back down, and they almost respond quickly. It fell behind them as a melee ensues in the goal crease. It didn't go in. From up here in the booth, you could see it in behind the goaltender, Mason McCausland, as some antics ensue right after the play. Helmet came off one player there as it was a near quick response from the Rebels. An excellent chance set up. Ellis Callahan right up on there in the net. Hudson Pino had his helmet pulled off him in the scrum that ensued after the play. Also caught up in it is William Henry of the Dukes. Those players will go to the box. Just those two players for now, one from each side here from the Rebels and the Dukes. A stick and a helmet still laying just to the right here of Mason McCausland's crease. The officials are going to have a quick discussion here at center ice. Ben Phillips from the Rebels hangs out beside them, waiting for a verdict, looking to get the full story on things. Lots of action here in the first 46 seconds of this third period. Just moments ago, a shot from Campbell Dunn beat Dylan Weil from an awkward angle toward the Rebels' goal line. That made it 2-0 for Eastern, their first goal since the first period. Stands 2-0 now, as it makes the so-called Island Summit Series that much more interesting. The Dukes have been hard to get scoring chances on, although they had one a second ago, the Rebels. leading to the stoppage of play. Ellis Callahan went in on net. It fell in behind Mason McCausland. The forwards, Pino and Callahan, crashing right to the net afterward. Colin McCormick of the Dukes and Ace Oatway of Western hanging around the rest, trying to get a sense of what the final calls are going to be. There's a signal over to both benches here. So coaches will come down and prepare to receive an update. Full house here in Tyne Valley this evening. The Valley faithful, much like in Charlottetown and Montague as well, always very into these games, always turning up big for their home team, especially when the Dukes are in town. And that's been the case there tonight.
Penalty goes number 4, Ty Monahan for the Dukes, receive 4 minutes, head contact. Rebels penalty goes to number 8, Hudson Pino, receive 4 minutes for head contact. Time of the penalty, 46 seconds.
Appears the only calls will be coincidental double minors. So Hudson Pino for the Rebels and William Henry for the Dukes will both sit out 4 minutes each. But other than that, it'll be 5-on-5 action, no advantage one way nor the other. Face-off will come to the right of McCausland. Players' benches are excited to get the game going again. The officials have it all figured out. Cohen Godkin kicked out of the draw for the Dukes. But Eastern will win it nonetheless after tying it up. But it's given away quickly to the Rebels. Ellis Callahan made a move, shook off Godkin. He's pursued by a second Dukes defender as it works its way back to Ben Phillips, the defenseman. His shot is along the ice but wide. Caleb Smallman dropped back. The shot from distance. That's kicked away on the loose puck. Ellis Callahan was there at the side of the net, but it was just over his reach. He couldn't get the second attempt shot off there as a battle forms up into the corner on the close side. Phillips manning that half wall on the board. He'll pinch in from the Rebels' defense as they're still trying to free this puck up from a logjam in the corner. There were 3 Dukes and 3 Rebels there in that puck battle as Western tries to hold in the zone and make something of the play and is up for a Duke and out the other way. Cohen Godkin comes into the zone. It's the spinorama. He walks in and tried to go up top on the shelf on Dylan Weil as he spun off Sam Dowling, the defenseman there. An excellent play there by Cohen Godkin. He's been hungry for one tonight. He's had lots of shots. Only 2 goals to show for and 10 points in 19 games this year for Godkin. He's had a solid campaign, but you can tell he's definitely hungry to put that puck in the back of the net here a little more often as the Rebels come away with it. But a good stick by Quinn McDonald on the defense to keep it in for Eastern as Langiel tried to cut toward the net. He's out there with McCormick. The shot, a heavy one from McDonald, will soar. It looked like it was going wide, but Dylan Weil will snag it and force the whistle and the face-off here to his right.
5-4-9-4-3-1-6.
Still lots of hockey left between these teams to play this year. Not as many as the 17 times they faced off last season, but they'll play at least once more this regular season, February 16th, up here in Tyne Valley. 4 more times, between 4 and 7 times, I should say, in the Island Final in March, and then once in the Atlantic Championships, as they are both guaranteed to be there. As that shot up the middle for Zach Goody, who's set up by Isaac Goody, out there joined by the third man on the line, Joe Arsenault. Zach Goody was diving at it, swiped at it, but missed. Arsenault has to come relieve him. He cycled it behind him, but no one was home except for Colin McCormick. McCormick's going to come up himself, cutting from the outside, looking in on the backhand, but holding him off there on a good defensive play was Brody Noy. And coming up on the counterattack, Joe Arsenault leads it up the other way. The Rebels are making a change. Arsenault with a shot, a rebound! Goody almost shoveled it in on the backhand, but Mason McCausland kicked away the rebound attempt as well, as Arsenault threw a big hit along the boards that comes back to the line. Here's a shot from distance, right at the net. Arsenault's digging for it. Goody was there too in the slot, but it's knocked back to Collins on defense. Ty Collins shoves Langiel into the Duke's bench. He didn't knock him right in, but a near face wash anyway, as Langiel went off for the change, as Dunn dumps it in for Eastern, and the Dukes will get a chance going the other way. And is picked off behind the net by Sam Dunn. Sam Dunn forcing it out front, waiting for him on the goal mouth is Quincy McLennan. He was parked at the top of the blue paint. Now forced in front. That's off the side of the net. It was a good look by Mason English, who tried to make a play happen. So Rebels attempt to swing it out. That pass was intended for Connor Hudson, who missed it as he was rolling up toward the red line. It's kept in by Mason English. He has a little bit of time and space here. Shakes off the defender. English down in the far corner. Swung it out front. Nobody was home. It was off a skate and back up and out as Emmy Goody leads the counterattack out the other way. He's out with Ace Otway on the line. Otway went one step and another, trying to shimmy off a defenseman there, going up against Hunter Burke for the Dukes. And it swung out to Connor Hudson. He had a minute, but he was knocked off the puck there strongly as Emmy Goody let a shot go, and it's wide. Emmy Goody, the call-up this game. He's played 2 games for the Western Rebels here this year, and he scored in one of them. So he's definitely not afraid to let that shot go. And we're going to have a quick stoppage of play here. Mason McCausland has the jersey off in net. Perhaps his chest protector came undone after fending off that Emmy Goody shot, but he's going to ask the officials here for a minute to get his gear sorted up and back out. By both teams, a little bit of rest on either side. The Rebels still pressing for their first goal of this hockey game. It's been a while since they've scored, dating back to the second period on Sunday against the Basin Armada here in Tyne Valley. Caleb Smallman scored on that one. That was the second goal in that 5-2 loss to Basin. But it's always a close game right to the end between these two teams, and it's only 2 goals that separates them. The latest one coming off the stick of Campbell Dunn earlier in this period. He scored 26 seconds into the frame, beating Dylan Weil from a tough angle. That is the difference right now. And finally, Mason McCausland is ready to go. Looked like his chest protector needed some refiguring there, but he's got it now. And the Dukes are back up the other way very quickly. It's Campbell Dunn coming in from the angle. Forehand, backhand, right on top of Weil. And that time, Dylan Weil made the big save for the Rebels. It was Campbell Dunn looking to score his second goal in about 4 minutes, as he came down from that exact same side where he scored last time, but this time cut in successfully, but couldn't beat Weil on the backhand. Weil was ready for that one for the Rebels. And stepping in is Colin McCormick right off the draw. A very crafty centerman off the faceoff. We've seen him do that a few times where he's poked it through the legs of his opposite center to make something happen. And it's a big hit throw in there. Campbell Dunn lays the body on Ben Phillips, and it forces the puck to the Dukes going the other way. Here's the shot from distance right into the breadbasket of Weil. That came off the stick of Blake Hartman. And the Dukes will get a draw deep in Rebels territory here as Western changes up their players from both the forwards and the defense. Face-off is won by Eastern. Caleb Smallman was not tied up by his winger, so he almost took the puck out, but missed as Eastern held the line, and he is dumped there. Another big hit by Campbell Dunn. He's thrown a couple of big ones here this shift, and right on top of the net was Blake Hartman looking to jam that by from close range on Dylan Weil. Another shot from the point from Bruce is knocked down, and come back the other way is Otway for the Rebels. Asa Otway shakes off the defender, knocks it on front. Here's the shot. Oh, it was knocked down by a Dukes defender as the goaltender McCausland was lost, and the second attempt shot from London Corbett rolls by wide and harmless. Ellis Callahan throws a big hit on a Dukes player there, but it is shot down the other way. And Noy is back there to force the icing with 14:30 left in this third period. A goal earlier this frame by Campbell Dunn, throwing a couple of big hits there too and send the tone for this Dukes team late in this hockey. Isaac Goody lines up to take the draw and wins it against Colin McCormick of the Dukes. Comes back into the eastern corner, and the forwards will get it out. It's picked off by Goody as soon as it comes out, though. Isaac Goody playing on that line with the other Goody on the team, Zach Goody, joined out there by Joe Arsenault with a shift. Isaac Goody went for the toe drag off a stick, and Blake Hartman broke up that play for the Dukes, and Evan Bruce, the defenseman, will lead it up the other way on the breakout. Lost in front of the Rebels bench. Brody Noy threw it over to his partner, London Corbett. Up the middle, Joe Arsenault headed for a millisecond, but lost it, and the Dukes will take it back the other way. Broken up in the middle of the ice, but only for a second as Godkin breaks in off the stick. The rebound! Quickly, that unfolded fast as Cash Fisher headed on his backhand, but is covered up by Weil. Weil's had to be sharp, and he's recovered well after that last goal. It was a goal that he likely would have wanted to have back, but you can't change history now. As they line up for a face-off just to Weil's left. The draw is won by the Dukes. Battle ensues in the corner. A pair of Rebels are in there rooting at the puck, but it's gotten on and out by Godkin for the Dukes. Ty Collins looking for his winger up the boards. Eastern takes it back in the neutral zone. Godkin has to pause as the puck squirted up and out past the blue line. And Western will start again from in behind their own goal line. Flipped up, trapped again by the Dukes. A big hit thrown there by Ty Collins, who followed his own clearing attempt and threw a check on Quinn McDonald of the Dukes. McDonald had the puck there, almost knocked down in midair by Cash Fisher. It missed the stick though, so the Rebels will try again to get it out and hit. It was a big hit thrown there by Kipton Aylward, but a Rebels player still down in front of his bench. Looked like Hudson Pino took that hit, and he goes off hurting. He was down on the ice for a second, but came off the ice. He is hurting after that one as Cash Fisher takes it in for the Dukes. Retrieved it, left for Gardner. Fisher retreats for in front of the net, but it's given away as he throws a hit on a Rebels defender. Line is held by William Henry. Henry lets it fly from the slot. The rebound, that squirted right over to Gardner, but it was off a shin pad in front, and it didn't quite get the Wild's net. And on the counterattack going the other way, Sam Surratt trying to get something going here for the Rebels. Surratt threw it between the legs of the defender Evan Bruce, but nothing happened off that one. The Rebels hold it in the zone. There's Brady Allison. Allison with Tobin McEwen. McEwen out to Allison. He has some room, and Surratt went down in front of the net. No call on the play. The Dukes take it back out. Not very far, though, as the Rebels will generate another chance. Tobin McEwen with the turnover. McEwen backhands it on the shovel in front of the net. Surratt charges in front, and we're going to get a call, and I think this one is going to the Rebels. It's a cross-check. And yes, it's going to be Sam Surratt going to the box for 2 minutes here. He collided with an Eastern Dukes defender right in front of Mason McCausland's net and took him down. And according to the referee, that is a cross-check. So for the third time today, the Dukes are going to the man advantage. They're yet to score up an extra player on the ice. But what a time to do that now and perhaps put this game out of reach with time ticking down here in the third period. There's still just under 12 minutes left here in Tyne Valley. But that is a tough penalty at this juncture of the game for the Western Rebels, who are trying desperately to find an answer to Mason McCausland's heroics in the net as the clearing attempt from the Rebels goes into their own bench, and they'll try again here only 5 seconds into this penalty. Ellis Callahan is out there to take the draw, and he wins it and cleared out by his Rebels defenseman up down the other way. Kipton Aylward will quarterback this power play unit. It's out there, gets it up to Cash Fisher. Fisher out there with Arsenault. But they are stopped just inside the Rebel zone. They'll get it up and down the ice again as the first 30 seconds going of this penalty kill going according to plan for the Rebels, who need not only some goals here but some momentum to get those goals. The Dukes break it in. Langill was in on the chase, giving those defenders a tough time. Ellis Callahan is back there to help for the Rebels, but it's given away to the Dukes, who finally get set up in the zone. On the far side, that's Aylward. Aylward lets that go. That's up along the ice, and Dylan Weil kicks it off to his right. Langill in behind the net for the Dukes. Tries the wrap attempt, jamming away at it. Arsenault was there too. Also camping away in that slot is Blake Hartman. Curled away to Cash Fisher at the top of the close side circle. Fisher down low for Langill. Battle in front of the net with Arsenault. And Ben Phillips is caught up in that too for the Rebels, who is guarding the net front. And Phillips gets that puck as a couple of Dukes players went for a change on that power play. They're forced to reset in the neutral zone. Jumping onto the ice is English with Langill. Fisher is there too. And Colin McCormick, the big scorer for this Dukes team, is on the ice as well, but they'll have to start off in their own zone with power play time ticking down. Only 18 seconds remaining in this Sam Surratt cross-checking minor as we traverse the midway point of the third period. The Dukes still holding on to that 2-0 lead as Campbell Dunn walks in. Oh, the one-time attempt there. Oh, what an opportunity there by Sam Dunn. Almost made it 3-0 there as he had lots of time space to shoot that. We're back to 5-on-5, but the Dukes aren't done with them yet. Mason English walks out on top. The pass down low, looking for the setup play down the slot. No one was there. Almost bounced out in front to Sam Dunn. He had a little bit of daylight if he was able to settle down that puck, but he couldn't. And the Rebels get a break and a huge penalty kill here as they have just over 9 minutes here to find an answer and try to tie this game up. But the Dukes are keeping it deep in Rebels territory for now, as the Dukes have built up some momentum at the end of that last power play there. But Joe Arsenault will lead the charge up the other way, up to Caleb Smallman. Smallman through a pair of legs as jamming away at the side of the net is Arsenault. Pass was intended for Noy of the Rebels, but stealing that was Eastern as Sam Dunn takes it up across the line and on the dump, and he'll chase it himself. He gets tied up at center. Looked like a candidate for interference, but there's no call there from the officials as the Dukes hold the line. That's a shot from distance that goes wide of Wile's net. Holding the line is Quinn McDonald. He'll curl up to his post on defense as a pair of Dukes forwards are in there to take the puck back once again from a tight angle. Jamming that is English, joined there by Quincy McLennan. It's shot down the ice by a Rebel player and responded by the Dukes as both teams gets in some sporadic changes. 8 minutes to go here now in this hockey game. The all-goody line jumping out for the Western Rebels as it's shot down the ice, and it's an icing call against the Eastern Dukes. And this will be a big O-zone face-off here for Western, who are looking to find an answer and score some goals. See both these teams in action again in the new year. This is the last Rebels game before the East Coast Ice Jam. They kick off that tournament early in the morning, playing the Eastern Growlers of Newfoundland in an 8:45 a.m. puck drop in Bedford, Nova Scotia, the home of the Ice Jam. The Eastern Dukes will play the weekend before that. They're on a road trip to Annapolis Valley to play Kings in Windsor, Nova Scotia. They'll play 2 games there the weekend before the Ice Jam, the first weekend of January. And they also start their tournament at the Ice Jam early in the morning on January 8th. They'll take on the Cape Breton Jets. I believe that's an 11 o'clock puck drop in Bedford. Hudson Pino couldn't pick up that pass on the boards, but got the second attempt chip out. He would have had that puck, but he fell down. Come back in recovery to get that one out was Jackson Gardner, the defenseman for the Dukes. Back in the feed of Ty Collins the other way in the Rebel zone. His shot on net there, kicked aside. That was Hunter Burke throwing a weak wrister on net. Second attempt here for the Dukes. William Henry threw that on net, but that was knocked down in front by Ben Harris, the defenseman. Isaac Goody in pursuit of that puck, trying to knock William Henry off of it, but Henry will get it deep. But it comes around on the counterattack quickly Up for Ace Otway was pursued closely by Arsenault, the back checker for the Dukes. Otway throws a hit after the play. It's enough to force the puck. Sam Surratt jumps onto the ice to pick that one off. Sam Surratt jumps in, joined by Isaac Goody on this line, trying to get a spark going as this Rebels offense with 6.5 minutes left in the third period. Far side, that was intended for Sam Surratt. It skipped up and over his stick, though. Trying to get that out is Connor Arsenault. Line is held by Sam Dowling for the Rebels, but it's by him and down the other way. Ty Collins has to come back and retrieve it for Western. Collins shakes off the check and goes up the other way, trying to shimmy shake Mason English, the forechecker, off the puck. Gets it up for Tobin McEwen, just jumping onto the ice. He's out there with Surratt and Brady Allison, the top line for this Rebels team, trying to find an answer here. They're hungry for a goal. McEwen gets it back. The defenseman joining the rush here. An excellent play by Allison. Drop back to Ben Phillips. It's right off the back of Tobin McEwen in front of that shot, and it disrupts it enough that the Dukes get enough room to clear that puck on and out. McEwen steps up there on the puck, is knocked off it though by Mason English, who will get that one out for the Dukes, and his line will go for a change. The Rebels holding it down there in the Dukes zone, but not doing enough to get it to Mason McCausland or to get it by him and into the net as it's passed out front by McEwen. Nobody was home. Surratt was driving the goal crease, and the counterattack the other way. Here come the Dukes. Here's Campbell Dunn shoving that toward the net. A quick follow-up attempt. Colin McCormick wasn't far from scoring his second of the hockey game there, but that shot is wide too. Quinn McDonald picks it up at the center ice logo. And this maneuver down for McCormick. McCormick was on the wrong side of center ice to prevent the icing, but was deflected right on to Dylan Weil, the goaltender. And the Dukes forced a turnover, a heavy forecheck there right on that puck as Campbell Dunn. He's been a physical presence this game along with his offensive strengths. He had that 2-0 goal earlier in this period to make the score to what it is now. Big game for number 14 for the Dukes. Eastern has it on their sticks, going back the other way. Some quick puck movement up through the neutral zone, but that last pass intended for McCormick was wide. No icing. It was on the correct side of center ice, but the Rebels will come down the other way, and that pass misses everybody, and that one will be an icing charge to the home team with 4:16 remaining on the clock here in the third period. As it's crunch time now for these two teams, the Dukes trying to hang on to that third place position in the standings. And perhaps importantly in this island rivalry, stay ahead of the Western Rebels in the standings. The Dukes sitting at 30 points right now, the Rebels at 25, as that shot from McLennan is high and wide. Eastern keeping up the pressure down in Western zone, trying to kill off the rest of that clock. The defense's offense approach for the Dukes, they're not laying off the gas pedal here. They're not trying to form any bad habits offensively by keeping the machine clicking on the other end. But that one is given away to Ellis Callahan. He has some room, lets it go, and that is stopped. Mason McCausland hugging the post. Another big save for number 31 in net. And Eastern is quick to come back down the other way. It's led by Mason English. He skates through a pair of Rebels and gets it back to his backhand. He got the shot off, but it was past Dylan Weil and wide, as the Rebels attempt to clear the puck out of their zone, but it's lost to Sam Dunn. Driving right to the net is McLennan, out there with English as well. The shot from distance to William Henry. Rebound came out to McLennan, but it's knocked out of his way before the shot could be gotten off. Keeping an eye now on Dylan Weil in net with 3 minutes left in the game, whether he bolts for the bench. Isaac Goody steals the puck on the change for the Dukes. He couldn't get the shot off. He tried to pull one through the legs of the Dukes defender. Ben Harris throwing it in down low. William Henry attempting to get that puck out for the Dukes. It's held at the line by London Corbett. Got it deep there for a second, but came all the way back out to the point, and the Dukes will force it out. Right back into the zone, though, is Isaac Goody. Goody joined out there by Joe Arsenault and Zach Goody camping out in front. Zach Arsenault was taken down in front of the Dukes bench. Dylan Weil is still in the net for the Rebels. They didn't pull the goalie just yet, as getting it up and out is Jackson Gardner, who barely gets it across the blue line there. Joe Arsenault had it for a moment, but is taken down the other way. Here comes Mason English. English had a good opportunity here just a second ago. Skodkin is rubbed out along the boards. Few bumps there in the Rebels zone. Zach Goody taking it out. Ben Harris, the defenseman, is way back to retrieve a stick for Western down the other end of the ice. Out to play the puck is Mason McCausland, and recovering quickly and make that save. That was a chance out nowhere for Isaac Goody, and couldn't pot that one, and now a 2-on-1 has appeared for the Dukes. Fisher, the pass far side. Gardner, an opportunity to go high. Blocker there on Weil, but Dylan Weil with an important save. But time is ticking down. 90 seconds remaining in regulation there as it's dumped in. The Rebels were offside, though. Isaac Goody there at the end of a long shift was drug offside. No move here from the Rebels to pull the net yet, as the Dukes take it back down the other way. Gardner dumps it in. They get it deep in Rebels territory with time ticking off the clock here in Tyne Valley. Cash Fisher holding it down low. He's going to pin it along the boards, trying to run as much of this clock down as he possibly can, as the clearing attempt from the Rebels hits the stick and goes up into the mesh, with Fisher, after a long hard shift for the Dukes, holding that puck along the boards. Looks like he had something to say there to Brady Allison of the Rebels after the play. He's held back by the linesman, though, and he'll go off for a change. And there will be a big face-off here to the left of Weil, deep in Rebels territory, with only a minute and 2 left in the period. And we're going to have a timeout called here. I believe it was called by the Rebels. The Dukes hang on here. It will tie the season series. Rebels won the first game of the 3-game season series, which the teams are calling the Summit Series here over on PEI, between these two heavy hitters in the Nova Scotia Under-16 AAA Hockey League. The Rebels won that December 14th game in Montague by a score of 4-3, although they were outshot 49-17 in that hockey game. Some heroics there by the goaltender that night. Hudson Lynch has stopped 46 pucks in that effort. Tobin McEwen also had 2 goals in that game, helping into an unlikely Rebels win. But the Dukes are a minute here from garnering their revenge against their island rivals. This will be the Eastern Dukes' first victory against the Rebels since Game 7 of the Island Final last year. In that time, the Rebels have not only won the game this season and a preseason matchup earlier this year in Tyne Valley. Bolting to the bench is Dylan Weil. But of course, in that time, the Rebels came out victorious in an Atlantic Championships matchup, as that will seal it. Colin McCormick is saying let's go after that one. He is pumped. It's his second of the game. A big game for the captain. He especially celebrated going in front of the Rebels bench there, but he puts the dagger into the hearts of the Rebels for this game anyway, and that'll just about seal it there. A big game for the captain and one of the best players in this league, Colin McCormick, 5th in league scoring here. It's been a big night for him, and it's an empty netter to seal it. Dylan Weil had just barely gone to the bench when the Rebels turned it over in and around the red line at center ice, and Colin McCormick lights the red lamp at the other end. It is shot down the ice by the Dukes. We'll get an icing call there, as in chase after it was Nash Langeal. He'll take a bump after the play. He's not happy with that. Took some physicality there by Sam Dowling, the Rebels defenseman. Dowling, of course, up on a call-up here for this evening's game. Face-off will come down to the Dukes' end. There's only 8 seconds remain in this hockey game. They tie up each other on the draw, and the Dukes will get it back, and the teams know it's over. And for the first time since March 31st, the Eastern Dukes beat their harrowed rivals in the Western Rebels, coming away with a shutout victory, an excellent performance by Mason McCausland, between the pipes for Eastern Dukes, showing why he is one of the best netminders in this league. And the big players show up for the Dukes tonight here on the road in Tyne Valley. Colin McCormick, the captain, with 2 goals, including the eventual game winner. Campbell Dunn with a heartbreaker goal earlier in the third period, rounding out the scoring for the Eastern Dukes. And of course, McCausland in net, registering the shutout. And his 8th win of the campaign, an effort sure to better his already top league-topping metrics. His 190 goals against average and 927 save percentage amongst the league's best there, treating the faithful here at the Cavendish Farms Community Events Center in Tyne Valley to another classic between these ever-entertaining rivals, no matter the situation. As the Eastern Dukes tie the season series with the Western Rebels, the rubber matchup between these teams, their third of 3 meetings, will be right back here in Tyne Valley on February 16th in Tyne Valley. In an Islander Day matchup, it'll be a 12 o'clock puck drop. Of course, they can meet before then if they happen to run into each other in the East Coast Ice Jam coming up in a week and a half. That game, all of the Ice Jam games, all of the remaining games left here in the season and the playoffs, you can catch that all here on High Button Sports all season long here from Tyne Valley and throughout the rest of the league. But that'll do it for me here tonight in Tyne Valley. My name is Luke Diamond. It's been a pleasure to bring you another classic matchup between these rivals here in PEI U16 AAA Hockey League action in the Nova Scotia League. Thanks for tuning in tonight. So long for now, and Happy New Year from me and the folks here at High Button Sports. We'll catch you next time. Good night from Tyne Valley.